Wix Studio, the platform for agencies and enterprises to manage clients and projects with max efficiency, sharing Wix's SEO tech to help you drive growth.
Fix errors, waste, and issues in a couple of clicks. Get alerted whenever you're off track. Sign up at trueclicks.com.
Hi everyone, good morning. Hi, good morning. Thank you. I usually like feedback when I talk. It's just easier to know that people are listening to me. So my name is Peace. I work in a company called Smile ID. So we do identity verification solutions, so KYC, AML for businesses, primarily fintechs, banks, etc. One of our products called document verification and AML check is available to use in 220 countries. That's a lot of countries. But we're also very focused on Africa, so we have coverage for all of Africa. Now what this means is that I spend a lot of my time thinking about how I can generate inbound leads from organic search, but primarily how to do that across each of the countries that we have. So on some days, I'm actively thinking about how we can promote the brand as a global brand because of like the global coverage. Very often, I'm thinking about how we can get more leads specifically from South Africa. On another day, it's like for a Zambia product. On a different day, it's from a Kenya product. Sometimes it's here we want to generate some more leads from Latin America in this specific sector. So it's all over that place on different day. And so that's what I'm talking about is because I've spent a lot of time thinking about, okay, for organic search, between Pillar SEO and how we can localize in very specific countries, our key market, how do we ensure that we're getting enough leads across all of these places? I'll share some of the things that we have done that has worked, and I hope that you can learn a few things that you can take back if you have this kind of challenge. Why is local SEO really important? There's 69% of all digital traffic arises from local and digital SEO. I mean, we know all of this stats. There's a lot of SEO experts here. 7% of customers use Google to evaluate local businesses as well. That's whether it's an e-commerce business or a digital business, or it's a solution, a B2B solution that is very contextual to the local market. 30% of all mobile searches are related to a specific location as well. So yes, local SEO is very important. And I cut across the entire conversion cycle, right? From brand awareness to conversion to consideration to lead funnel. When people want to have an idea of the specific businesses that serve a specific niche in a location, they're going to do like local SEO searches. They're going to find who are the KYC providers, for instance, in the UK, who are the best KYC providers for fintech businesses, who are the best fintech KYC providers or AML providers for South African banks. Even I see searches like that. That's like country, solution, and also like very specific to like the industry. And so it cuts across, right? Because we want to make sure that we're increasing our brand reach. People know about us. They know the products that we have and the solutions that we offer. But also, when they want to convert and book a demo call, they can also find us immediately. So my team is always working between, large-scale keywords that is just like awareness focus, but also like very transaction keywords that search volume is very low, but we know this is targeted to like specifically enterprise customers that would, if they click, they read our article or download our content, that will likely convert into an inbound call. So it works across the entire life cycle. So achieving the way we do it in my company is we have two things that we leverage together to help with like global visibility and localization. The first part of it is Pillar SEO, making sure that all of the contents that we're creating are kind of like feeding into primary specific themes. So we have different product suites where we have anti-money laundering, we have fraud prevention, we have document verification, we have business verification. These are all KYC terms. But then because we have so many different products, we're writing different articles for each of those pillar topics, right? That way we are gathering a lot of traffic across any kind of keywords that people are looking for. So with KYC, for instance, we're writing a bunch of articles with different topics and subtopics around Pillar, just to make sure that whatever you type around KYC, we can like pop up somewhere on page 1 on top searches. And we do the same thing for AML and then do the same thing for all of that. So that's one part of it. And then the other part is then saying, okay, how do we then make sure that we are not just ranking across the entire world, because we have a lot of competitors globally, from the Onfidos and Verives to locally in every single country, we also have competitors. So how do we also localize in each of these countries, right? So we are doing this topic across Africa, this topic in South Africa, and that's how it kind of comes together to create like a very comprehensive and authoritative Pillar and localized content. The how. So why is Pillar content very important? If anyone does content marketing here, you know it's really great for demonstrating to search engines your expertise and authority on a topic. So the more articles that you have is about your specific niche or product or the Pillar page, the more your chances of ranking generally, because you can do a lot of interlinking within the pages. You can get multiple backlinks from different sources to different pages as well. And it just shows the authority that yes, this website in entirety, not just this one blog article or this one landing page, that has really good content around this. It also helps with better engagement, because what we find as well is that people tend to like go across multiple pages. So they come from one article, and because we have different internal links to like other sub articles around it, they spend a lot of time just researching, and they were having like a lot of lead forms, right, for them to download like a gated content. And so you're going from one page to gated content and just spending a lot more time, and that increases like the quality of the inbound. It's not just the quantity, but also the quality of the leads that we actually get to go into like straight onto demo call. So Pillar content is really helping, and we can see how when we this screenshot here, I don't know if you guys can see it very well, it's kind of like what we're doing for anti-money laundering, and having like a bunch of different keywords and different articles that some are pillars, some are cluster blogs that kind of like feed into the specific pillar. So if we have one Pillar page, then we have at minimum 5 other pages that kind of like link back to it, and that be to Pillar, and then we keep building up and building up and building up. And we've been doing this for years, so we have like a lot of authority on that. That's the Pillar part of it, like in simple terms. Then we have the local SEO part, helps with proximity, relevant, prominent in specific countries or in specific regions, depending on how you are trying to like localize your content for visibility there. Now, how do I do this, right? One of the things that we do for localization is Google My Business. It still works. I've been using Google My Business for a very long time, and it still works. So at my company, we have offices in the US, we have offices in London, but we have offices in multiple African locations. So we have in Nairobi, we have in Lagos, we have in Accra, we have in Cape Town, and those are like also our very key markets. And so what we do is to make sure, yes, we have the office location and Google My Business very optimized for those specific places, because when a lot of companies also want to see, or when you're looking for like a provider, they're also trying to see, do you guys have a physical presence here? And it's also a bit contextual to our business, because it has to do a lot with regulations and laws. So that really helps with even the credibility, but then helps with like the search part of things as well. So if you can, and you have like a Google My Business, and you have an office location in any of the countries or cities that you're trying to optimize for, Google My Business is definitely one of the things you should do. Or any other local search listings or local directory listings in that specific city or country, it would come in handy in just feeding that this is a local business and it's actually relevant when people are searching for within that location. Something else that we've done that has worked really well is that we have country pages for all of the countries in Africa. So again, we're a global business, but like very Pan-African focused. And so we have coverage for all 54 countries in Africa, and we have a landing page for all of them. It took a couple of months to get there, but it's actually working really well. And so that really helps, because when people come to like our homepage, they see the homepage, and the homepage has messaging of a Pan-African brand, a global brand, document verification, AML. It has everything for the brand. It's really good for brand positioning. But on the landing page for all of these countries, what we then do is to have like more relevant information to what we actually offer in each of these countries. So like the ID types, the laws, like everything that you need to know if you're coming from. We don't have like Europe countries right now, but if you're going to do it for like our Europe destinations or Latin America, it will be, hey, if I'm in Germany, for instance, what do you guys offer specifically in Germany? What documents do you actually do? So it's a little bit more contextual, because when people are also searching, they'll kind of search like how to verify verify UK passport or how to verify UK resident card. And we want to make sure that they can have all of that. And so we see that we get to rank for easy keywords like KYC in Angola, AML in Algeria, and that really works well. So if you do have the bandwidth, having specific landing page for all of your countries or cities is something that I have worked. And then we have gated content. Just in terms of like content marketing in general, gated content has done really well. It gets us like a ton of leads on direct response part, but it also helps a lot with both press, backlinks for press, and also in search listings. So for instance, when we released a Fraud in Africa report earlier this year, we had over 50 plus organics and press listings. That's backlinks I didn't have to buy, backlinks I didn't have to do anything for. It was simply, this is relevant content, seeded with a few very high network websites, and then kind of like aggregates that to all different places. So that helps with the SEO for that page and lifts it up automatically. And then we then have like the specific ones for country. So again, I'm trying to build like an authority across all of these locations. So not just the blog articles, because here you read it, that's nice, but then what also happens in interaction that converts to like MQLs or SQLs for me, and it actually works. So the South African guide, the Rwanda guide shows up like number 1, number 2 consistently if you actually search for like KYC guide or KYC in Rwanda, KYC in South Africa, KYC solutions there. And so people can either go to the landing page or they can just land on a guide, and that automatically gives me leads. So they're not just reading the content, but like straight to the guide, and you're downloading it, and I'm getting leads and I'm meeting my OKRs. Yeah, and basically ranking for local keywords. I think I've said that a little bit. Now the result is, I kind of mentioned it, I'm faster than my slide. But the result is we're searching for KYC Rwanda, our KYC guide is showing up, and automatically I'm getting like people who are actually downloading it, and so that's working really well. And people do gated content across like different types, right? I'm doing this specifically for the countries that we want to target, the key countries, and also for like the fraud reports that is more general, and we're getting more people on board. We do that also aside of the specific location. So what I'm doing in South Africa or Kenya, we also kind of do that for like Africa. Then we do that for Europe as well. So even for the Pan-African brands or multinationals who are kind of like checking what's happening on the continent, we make sure that we're showing up. Because again, I'm talking about global visibility. So I'm doing that locally for country, and I'm figuring out how do we also want to do that in how we position the brand as a Pan-African brand, or even when we're doing like global document verification. And then so we're having keywords across that. So sometimes it would feel like we're duplicating like a blog content topic, right? Where we write something around business verification in South Africa, and it's very specific to South Africa, and we do another topic, business verification in Africa, that is a bit more across different African regions. And then both of them actually built up into the business verification pillar. So regardless of how you're searching for it, with whatever keywords that you're using in the query, we will kind of like show up in somewhere on the first page. Sometimes too, depending on how much work we've done there. I already talked about the market reports as well. Yeah, I think this was really interesting for me in terms of doing gated content, because and when you're doing like multiple countries at a go, so when you're doing the specific countries, the volumes are usually lower, and then the amount of banklinks you can actually get sometimes actually lower, a couple of websites in one country. But when you're doing like for an entire region, for an entire continent, it becomes really good. And so we've done our report consistently. We did the KYC report 2 years ago, that worked really well. We did another one 6 months later, that worked really well. And by the time we were doing the third iteration, you realize that, okay, the amount of people who were looking forward to it was beginning to reduce. So we switched it up, the topic a little bit, from doing just a KYC in Africa report to like a fraud in Africa report. Because we also saw that fraud is like a very trending topic generally across the world right now. So that made a lot of sense. And we had the most organic traction that we've ever seen, from leads generated to the amount of high quality websites that was giving us like do follow backlinks from what we're actually doing here. Yeah, and then so finally, I think if I do a recap, I've talked about using pillar content, because regardless of what you do, it kind of like builds up authority generally across the entire website. So you can make sure that for all of these specific topics or solutions on products that you actually have, you have enough content on your landing page across the different blog to actually rank for that. And it also helps a lot with interaction. So people interlinking and reading multiple content at a go. Using Google My Business, using country-specific landing pages, having reports as well if you're more of a global brand or a Pan-African brand or a Pan-region brand as well. And the final thing is to optimize as much as you can. So load speed, easy navigation, and relevant content is very important. I have a developer on my team, which is great. I don't think a lot of marketing teams have like a developer that sits on my team. So that's one of my biggest wins. And one of the things that he's always doing every quarter is figuring out ways to optimize the experience of our landing page. How do we make sure that it's loading really fast, the navigation is easy, and how do we make sure that people who are coming from different IP addresses or different countries are landing on the right specific pages. So the experiments that we're working on right now is if somebody is showing up from the UK or someone is showing up from somewhere in Latin America, how do we ensure that they should go to a Latin America landing page, or we're able to even translate the page to their local language, right? That way it's a lot more relevant to them than what they see generally. And somebody's coming from in Nigeria, for instance, can I take them straight to Nigerian landing page? Can I show them content that is relevant to the landing page with like our pop-up forms or with like our header forms? Just doing all of that to ensure that navigation is a lot easier once people land on it, because searching is one thing, coming to the website, finding the right information and getting them to book a demo call is a different journey entirely. So that experiment is always getting done just to make sure that we optimize and define what is important. Also, monitor performance and gather the right data, super important. Literally on my way from the train station this morning, I was having a call with the SEO specialist on my team and just thinking about, okay, how are we currently measuring and how we track it? What's working, what's not working, which of the pages in the last 3 months are doing a lot better than the other ones, which ones do we need to like get more content from, or do we need to like get backlinks for, or which ones do we need to like write more stuff for. So always I kind of like measuring as well. And when we're measuring, because I'm director of marketing, not just like SEO specialist, so my goal is not just for make sure that we're ranking. My goal again, it always ends up in leads, and I try to do that across every single member of my team, regardless of what your role is. Even the developer, how does your work kind of feed back into the amount of leads that we're getting and the quality of the leads? And so what we do is to say, hey, yes, we're ranking good, our SEO impressions and SEO clicks on Search Console and AI reviews is going really well, but how does that translate into actual traffic? How does that translate into leads generated? How does that translate into demo calls? And finding ways that we can actually track it. So whether it's using like UTM links and BT links on the internal links on the blog to make sure that people are actually clicking on the links, we can actually track that they're actually clicking on it. Using UTM terms on each of those ones as well. So when somebody books a demo call from a specific blog, I can actually tell that they came through this specific article. Those things are very important in terms of proving to like the larger company the result or the output of the SEO thing we're doing. So I think gathering data is super important, and do it for more than just we're ranking as number one. Do it for like across the entire life cycle. I think that's how you really prove the worth of SEO. Implement stuff on your website, just based on the data that you're gathering as well. Obviously, I'm talking a lot about content SEO, but SEO he talks a little bit about technical SEO, so which is why I have a developer on my team to make sure that anything that we're getting in terms of the data we're gathering is working, is not working. If it's a technical problem, Kelvin is there to fix it. If it's a content problem, Emmanuel is there to fix it. And just doing all of that across board is very important for implementation. And then generally, make better decisions on content direction and keyword targeting based off your data. So we are always looking as well on, aside the performance of what we are doing, what are we currently ranking for or not ranking for that we need to do. There's one of our competitors that is super big, and we noticed that they had like 5x our website traffic. So we're trying to just kind of like replicate all of the things that they're doing in a much better way because we're competing. But just kind of like finding, okay, this is data, this is what's happening in the industry that we don't know about yet. How do we also like use that to get better at what we're doing in the team? How does this all come together? Ranking, pillar pages, brand mentions. I think brand mentions is super important, and that's one of the reasons why we still do gated content that would be very popular with people. So even though the leads that we get from our Fraud in Africa reports, for instance, are typically not going to convert immediately to sales qualified leads because they're coming for the information and the education, which is fine, but we know that it gets us a lot of brand mentions, right? And then in another 4, 5, 6 months, we can see them converting. So one of the things that I noticed is at first we're trying to prove, oh yes, you guys got 5,000 people to download the KYC reports, but that's not converting to SQLs. And I'm proving that, oh yeah, but we can track the history that a bunch of these people who come in, they actually start converting 4 months after they do. And we're a B2B enterprise brand, so that fully works in my favor. But being able to prove that and say, hey, I'm doing it now because if I improve our brand traction and the word gets out and we have a lot of press, we get organic demo calls, but in MQLs, we can nurture them within the next 3 months. That helps us with the pipeline. So that was also really important for us as well. And then Google My Business, I've been doing that for like 10 years and I don't think it ever goes away, or any local directories that you have anyway. Thank you. 1 minute to spare.
Monthly reporting making you want to shove sharp things up your nose? Try Dragon Metrics, the all-in-one SEO software with mind-blowing reporting tools.
Demand Sphere. Limitless visual insights from the SERPs. Unlimited dashboards and users. Easy to use and easy to scale your growth to new levels.